Earthbag building, the fact that it is possible to build a structure out of earthbags, people learned in the last century. At that time, the technology was used mainly by the military to fight floods in bunkers. Today, thanks to some enthusiasts, we can safely say that the method can be used for the construction of residential houses. This one, for example, was built in Fairbanks, Alaska. It took no more than a couple of months to build, and then people lived in it for 3 years before selling it. The reason this particular material was chosen was affordability. The land for construction was taken directly from the site, which saved a lot of money on transportation of the material. In addition, the land, even if you buy it, will cost less than bricks or wood, not to mention that the time for erection takes many times less, if compared with traditional technologies. Bags of earth are simply stacked on top of each other in rows. Barbed wire was used as a connecting element between them. The earth bags are non-toxic, non-combustible, non-decaying, and resistant to microorganisms. They retain heat well, so they are surprisingly not a bad building material. In addition, earth can be mixed with third-party fillers like volcanic stone or perlite to provide additional insulation. Culvert retaining wall. It's hard to say whether this technology was created by very resourceful people or very lazy people. Either way, it is a good time and effort saver. A retaining wall is an extremely useful structure in places with moving wet soil. They're erected most often on slopes and in depressions to hold and prop up the ground. Traditionally, concrete, stone, or brick blocks are used, but there are alternatives. The blocks can be replaced with bags of dry cement mix. The idea is that after getting wet, the mixture in the bag starts to harden, forming peculiar blocks. The bags are then removed by hand, or they can be allowed to decompose naturally over time. For construction, you can use factory bags from the manufacturer, or the mixture is pre-packaged to get small blocks. In our case, the most common paper lunch bags were used, and also, if necessary, such a construction is not difficult to reinforce with reinforcement. Metal elements are placed between the rows, or the bags are pierced with them. And here's a building system designed to be a better alternative for people who live in permafrost areas. The house whose construction you see on your screens is part of a research project called Protosphere. Its developer is Suzanne Havelko, a scientist at McGill University, Montreal, Canada. In creating such a house, she wanted to understand how the quality of life could be improved when living in cold regions. Protosphere is a monolithic dome structure. Such a structure is highly resistant to natural challenges, such as earthquakes, hurricanes, and tornadoes. The method of construction of such domes is extremely interesting. After the foundation is poured, special spheres are inflated on the site of the future house. In shape, they coincide with the shape of the finished building. Around the form, a metal frame is first built, reinforcing, and then liquid concrete is laid on top. The sphere, filled with air, supports the material until it dries completely, and then it is only necessary to blow it off and remove it. The project was realized by the specialists of the American company, Monolithic, who have extensive experience in the construction of such domed monolithic houses. Urban rigor. The impetus for this project was the fact that in Copenhagen it is very difficult to find housing that would be affordable for an ordinary student. A few years ago, the project's founder, Kim Laudrup, faced the problem that he had nowhere to put his son. He could not find suitable housing. Then it was decided to build this housing, right on the water, so that it did not get in the way, used unused ordinary space. As a basis, ordinary shipping containers, so that the cost is not too large. The end result is the Urban Rigger, an apartment building that sleeps 12 people. Each occupant has their own bedroom, bathroom, and kitchen. In addition, residents and guests all have access to a shared green courtyard, which measures 17 square feet. Here you can find a kayak court, a swimming platform, a barbecue area, and much more. Underneath the house below the water level is another floor, a basement of 2,368 square feet. This is another common area, which serves for storage and as a laundry room. The success of the project has created a whole business. Today, as many as 5 such houses can be found on the territory of Copenhagen. The company is also working on similar houses in Cork, Ireland, Rotterdam, in the Netherlands, and San Francisco in the US. Grain bin home. Converting non-residential buildings into residential ones and giving them a new life is a trend that has been around for years. So the idea of turning a silo into a house is not new, but today we are going to show you the actual transformation process in detail. Grain Bin Home is a family project started this year in a rural area of the American state of Indiana. The silo was purchased along with a plot of land that contained the house and fields. A few years ago, it fell into disrepair. So the owners had the most interesting idea to convert it into a guest house where parents could stay. The plan was to turn the 23-foot tower into a 2-story house with a residential annex in the back and a porch in the front. Work began around May. The planned construction duration at that time was 5 months. So at the moment the project is still unfinished, we only know in advance that the first floor will have a living room with a kitchen. In the annex at the back, it was decided to have a sleeping room along with a bathroom. The tower will also have a loft-style interior. A curved staircase leads to the second floor, from where you can look out onto the first floor or step out onto a balcony overlooking the fields. It is noteworthy that the house turned out complete with insulation foundation, doors, windows, and communication systems. And you can read more about the stages of construction on the project channel. Boxible. The latest construction solution, which we will talk about today, is a modular system that can be used to assemble almost any residential or non-residential building. The size of one Boxible module does not exceed the size of a shipping container, which allows you to deliver them quickly on public roads. Delivery is carried out in a couple of days, instead of the usual couple of months, which significantly reduces the construction period. The module unfolds like a child's construction set. It's fast and not very complicated. The manufacturer offers its patented panel system, which allows for much faster installation of communication systems. The layout, location, and size of window doorways can be any, chosen by the customer. The material chosen to create the modules is resistant to fire, water, mold, and has high energy efficiency. Finally, the construction uses 90% less wood than traditional construction methods, which makes Boxible houses more environmentally friendly. Colin. And here is an amazing piece of furniture that can be transformed into a decorative element and back again with a slight movement of the hand. This meter-long shelf consists of a large number of movable modules. Their position can be changed by the owner himself as he likes. When the modules are pressed against the wall, the shelf looks like an outlandish sculpture. Note that on the bottom side, the wooden elements are curved, and on the top side, they are perfectly straight. Also that when they bend, they create an extra vertical surface for storing small, lightweight items. Legari floor kits. You've probably heard the expression epoxy resin at least once before. It's a material that is widely used today in the manufacture of furniture, such as kitchen worktops, river effect tables, and much more. However, it turns out that it can also be used for floor finishes. The result is interesting and very unusual. Masters work with resin of different colors in several stages so that the final surface is decorated with fanciful divorces, in this case, redheads. Interestingly, traditional methods of application, like brushes, rollers, do not allow you to achieve the desired effect. To get a perfectly smooth, even floor, Therefore, instead of them, the so-called pouring method is chosen. This means that the material is poured in large quantities directly onto the prepared floor and then evenly distributed over the surface. Porta-pivot. It would seem that door frames already have a universal design that cannot be changed and improved in any way. Nevertheless, talented craftsmen from all over the world continue to come up with new, more and more creative variants of the door. One of them you see right now on your screens. When you look at such a door from the outside, it is hard to even imagine that there is something unusual about it. The catch is when you try to open it. Suddenly it turns out that the door does not swing to the side as it usually does, but practically rotates around its axis. The secret of this design lies in the fastening elements. Here you will not find traditional hardware. The door is not fixed in the door frame by means of hinges located on the side. Instead, a strong vertical support is hidden inside the structure, and it is not located on the edge of the passage, but at a small distance from it. The pivot door pivot is an ideal option for rooms with limited space, especially narrow ones. This is because when it opens, it occupies the space in front and behind, but not on the sides. Sportec. The latest original construction solution that we are going to show today is another type of floor finish. These are Sportec rubber boards from Freiburg, which were developed specifically for use in sports facilities such as fitness rooms. Each of these sheets is made of recycled rubber granules. They have excellent sound and noise insulation properties, but most importantly, they absorb impact energy perfectly. Even if a heavy weight or dumbbells accidentally fall on such a floor, the surface under the slab will remain intact. The method of installation, as you can see, is simple and quick. The boards are connected to each other using grooves and studs.